Back in the Wii days, there was one Super Mario series that was a huge hit, and rightfully so. I'm talking about Super Mario Galaxy. This game is a classic and took the Super Mario series to new heights. So, should these games return on a console like the Nintendo Switch, in the form of a port or remake? Well, let's find out. Super Mario Galaxy was a 3D action-adventure platformer game first released in 2007. Unlike the previous two 3D adventure installments for the Mario franchise, this time it all takes place in deep space. Most of the game's levels consist of many small planets and planetoids, while others have bigger planets. When the first game hit the shelves, it received some of the highest review scores and appraisals of any Wii games to date, and of any game overall. Since its release, the game has sold over 12 million copies, making it the 8th best-selling Wii game and earning a Nintendo Selects re-release even. However, a remake or fully-fledged port was never seen. So is it possible to remake these Galaxy games? And what would they look like in the end? Well, in order to find out, we will look at some of the most important elements seen in almost every remake on the planet. The upgrades to the mechanics and graphics, improvements they will make, and content that they will add to the game to make it worth it for people who played the original. First up, the look and mechanics of the game. Now, back in the days of the Wii, HD wasn't a thing for Nintendo fans. Now, some of the Wii software supports a 480p progressive output that displays at an enhanced quality compared to the standard 576i display. So really, HD was never an option with this console. You were usually stuck on 640 by 480. When it came to the frame rate, it was stuck at either 25 or 30 FPS. Which is decent, but nowadays a lot of us are used to 30 bare minimum and even 60 or higher at best. So when it comes down to it, there's a lot Nintendo could improve with the Switch, and this was even seen in a recent release of the game. Because Super Mario Galaxy as well as several other Wii games were re-released for Nvidia's Shield tablet in China on March of 2018. The game runs on the Shield via an emulator, but has interface and control modifications and support for 1080p resolution, well actually 1920 x 1404, to be more specific. And this device uses the same processor as the Nintendo Switch, but runs on Android, making it even less efficient than the Switch itself. So keep that in mind. There's a lot of room for improving the graphics even more. They could even upgrade a lot of the models and still get a really good resolution overall. Just looking at this comparison, you can see the upgrade improved the quality a lot and even beats the results seen in the Dolphin emulator to an extent. And the handheld mode with its 720p screen can easily bump up the frame rate from 30 to 60 a second. All of it can look and run amazing with the horsepower of the Switch, so that won't be a problem at all. However, what about the motion and gyro controls seen in Super Mario Galaxy? It was a Wii title after all, so of course it used those. Well, here we don't have any problem yet again, because part of the inspiration of the Switch's design was from feedback players had given Nintendo on the Wii Remote, according to Shinya Takahashi. So these small detachable controllers have all the same functions as the ones seen with the Wii, but this time they are even better. So the gyros there, pointer controls, motion controls, and HD rumble to make it all feel more real. Because of this, none of the weird and wacky features seen in Super Mario Galaxy would be a problem. For example, the level where Mario stands on a ball with a star in it and needs to roll around to the end of it in order to get his prize will work without a problem. We've even seen stuff like this in games like Breath of the Wild, where some of the shrines use it. And the great thing is, this time around all of it feels even better, because they greatly improved all those technologies. Now let's move on to the next point. The stuff they could improve in the game in order to make it even better than the original. Nintendo tends to do this a lot with their remakes. Just look at Majora's Mask 3D and Ocarina of Time 3D. Here a lot of things changed as well, and they tried to make the experience even better. However, when it comes to Super Mario Galaxy, there isn't really a lot. Mostly because the improvements in the tech already solve most of the game's problems. A lot of the annoyances like the ball rolling level will be solved by better rumble feedback and gyro. And this goes for a ton of the features seen in the game. Almost all of it will be solved by it. So is there anything to improve then? Well, yes. One thing will change, and that's mostly because of how the Switch works. When playing in handheld mode, it would be a bit scary for most to start shaking that Nintendo Switch around like Wario in Wario Land Shake It in order to do an ordinary star spin. So of course they will change that, because I bet a lot of people would be scared to death to straight up destroy their Joy-Cons or Switch body. An easy fix for this is mapping a button for it instead of a motion-based movement. They did this with the Nvidia Shield version as well. Another thing that will get a new way of controlling is the pointer, because when the whole thing is in your hand, it won't be as easy to do it as well. The easiest thing to do here would be to use the second analog stick for this. It's just as versatile after all. And that's kind of it. There isn't anything else they possibly would want to change in the game when it comes to the broad concept of this title. Sure, they might alter some boss fights in small sections here and there, but in my opinion, that's not even needed. Now let's move on to our last point. What will they add to make it completely worth it for the original fans of the game? Well, when it comes to this, there are a couple of things they can do that would also be fitting with Nintendo's past behavior. One that would also benefit the whole idea behind the Switch is a co-op mode like the one seen in Super Mario Galaxy 2. It's similar to the multiplayer from the original, but this time you're a Luma. The second player can stun enemies and pick up star bits like in Super Mario Galaxy, but now they can pick up coins and mushrooms, defeat enemies by spinning, stop the star ball, activate checkpoints and flip switches. However, instead of making something similar to that return, we can take it a step further, because player 2 just follows Mario, which is limiting. So why not let them move around freely on their own like Cappy in Super Mario Odyssey? With 2 separate Joy-Cons, this could easily work. Although using motion for the star spin attack would be handy because of the limited amount of buttons a single Joy-Con has. They could even introduce more playable characters like they did in Super Mario 64 for the DS when they remade that game. Think of characters like Rosalina or the Lumas. They could add these plus Luigi to the co-op mode that I just mentioned. These could be fun to play as or unlock after completing certain sections of the game. Maybe even new challenges based around them. Something like this would already add a ton to the game, but it wouldn't be enough. One thing it certainly needs is new worlds. Now they could either create some inspired by Super Mario Odyssey as seen in games like Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, or add old ones they wanted to include but were ultimately scrapped. Personally, I would like the second option more because we have already seen quite a lot of bonus worlds and levels related to Super Mario Odyssey. So it would be a bit lazy of them to go with the usual new Donk City and Wooded Kingdom styles. Although I bet it would still look really good and a ton of players would enjoy it. However, I think it's better to bring back some planets people saw during E3 that never made it in. Like Home Planet. This is an egg-like planet that was once used for the E3 demo and officially released to the public in the form of screenshots. Unfortunately, it was removed from use in the final, with only its model left within the game's file system as Home Planet. Now clearly it's a bit bare bones, but they could take levels like these and actually finish them, so that players can also have some completely new areas to explore. All of these added features and stuff you can do and find in the game would make it completely worth it for the people who already played this title back in the day. Now, would any of this ever happen? Well, who knows? Nintendo at least has the option and a console with all the right tech for it to work. So personally, I hope they will at least give it a shot. Maybe even together with the second Galaxy game included, since they already make a ton of assets for that game as well when developing the first. It would be quite easy for them to include it after all. They could just reuse a ton of models and graphics, so it's not that hard. But if this will ever happen, no one knows. We will have to wait and see. You all wanted a meetup in the Netherlands? Well, it's happening! I'm coming to Dutch Comic Con in Utrecht, which is on the 24th and 25th of November. So be sure to come by. We're also gonna meet up outside of the event at the Five Guys close to Utrecht Centraal. So to stay up to date, follow me on social media, keep an eye on the community tab of my YouTube, and have a look at the top comment for more info. Hey you there, thanks for watching this video. This is the new Remake show. I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me in the comments section what you think about the new show. Give me your feedbacks and everything. Give me likes and dislikes. I want to know what's up. And subscribe. Yay.